Very sure.
Is Greg back already?
They might ask us some questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good if you watch him. If you see him, he's really good.
Is he on the street?
He's Craig Jr. And he's totally Craig Jr. He knows how to work.
Did this kid actually just come in immediately?
So, no, he got hurt. Chase blew out his ACL. So he blew out his ACL. And then
They had to find a kicker.
one of his kicks got blocked. He hit something.
That's the person I want to see come into the door.
All right, thank you. Welcome to the City of Montebello Planning Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, October the 18th, and we'll go ahead and get started. So we're calling this meeting to order, and it's 6:37. Director Palomi, can we get a roll call?
Sure. Chair Cuevas,
Here?
let the record reflect that Vice Chair Del Rio will not be attending tonight, so I will move on to Commissioner Lomelli.
Present.
Commissioner Alakasanian, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we have everyone please rise and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Director, are there any corrections to the agenda?
There are no corrections to the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Thank you. Are there any presentations?
There are no presentations tonight.
Oh, thank you. Can we have the public comments paragraph read, please?
Sure thing. At this time, the general public may address the commission on any items listed on the agenda, including items not listed on the agenda, which are referred to as non-agenda items, that are within the subject matter jurisdiction. Please be aware that the maximum time allotted for members of the public to speak shall not exceed 3 minutes per person. State law prohibits the Planning Commission from taking action or entertaining extended discussions on a topic that is not listed on the agenda. And just please be reminded to show courtesy to others and direct all of your comments to the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any staff communications?
There are no staff communications tonight.
Okay, moving on to the next item, meeting minutes. We received meeting minutes for the August 16th meeting. And do we have any recommendations for the approval of those meeting minutes?
I would like to motion to approve the minutes of August 16th, 2022, if there's no corrections.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. If there's no opposition, we can approve those?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item, public hearing.
Yeah, could we get the presentation up? Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Item 2 on tonight's agenda relates to a recommendation for City Council approval of 3 separate development agreements listed in the staff report before you tonight as development agreement numbers 02. Can I get the next slide up, please? 02-22 for the property located at 1720 South Bluff Road, and 0322 for the property located at 1633 Washington Boulevard, as well as development agreement number 0422 for the property at 1915 West Whittier Boulevard. Pursuant to Montebello Municipal Code Section 1762-105C2, the relocation of an off-premises sign and its replacement with a new off-premises digital sign is allowed upon the approval of a development agreement by the City Council. So these development agreements, if approved by the council, will allow the relocation in place of 5 existing dual-faced static outdoor advertising signs with 5 new dual-faced digital outdoor advertising signs. The size of the replacement signs will be identical to the existing signage that we see there now, totaling approximately 300 square feet, so there will be no change to the actual square footage of the signage. As you see in this slide, all the locations are located on major corridors within the heavy manufacturing zone or commercial zone. Next slide, please.
I'm sorry, Director Palomi, this is Gloria with the City Attorney's Office. At this moment, can we open the public hearing?
What was that?
Can we please open the public hearing?
Yeah, we were going to, you want to open the public hearing?
We're opening the public hearing.
All right. So let my comments be reflected in the public hearing. Thank you. So the next few slides are intended to show the subject locations from an aerial perspective. So here's the 1720 South Bluff Road, and you'll see, yeah. And next slide, please. This is 1633 Washington Boulevard. And And here we have 1915 West Whittier Boulevard. Next slide, please. So as prescribed in the city's code, staff worked closely with Clear Channel, who's the applicant here tonight, to incorporate public benefits in the proposed development agreements. These public benefits will be new sources of general fund revenue and one-time as well as ongoing sources of revenue. As shown here, there will be a one-time development agreement signing bonus totaling $100,000 or $20,000 per new digital sign face, an annual development fee totaling $50,000 or $10,000 per new sign face. The agreements will also allow the city to use these new digital signs for advertising public service announcements and city-related public messages with remote access, which I think is key here, because this can be done seamlessly and reduce traffic trips to and from the location. This technology was recently used by the state to promote the Flex Alerts, for example. So this will be something that's definitely an asset. There is also a takedown program intended to remove blighted signage within the city through the removal of 5 existing static signs, which are at different locations. They're located at 8105 Slauson Avenue, 249 East Beverly, and 303 West Whittier Boulevard. Next slide. So staff is here for any questions you may have, and the applicant actually has a presentation that he would like to give tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The applicant, can you please identify yourself for the record, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson and Commissioners. My name is Lane Lawson. I'm the Vice President of Public Affairs for Clear Channel Outdoor in California. It's with great pleasure that we present tonight a new program that we are bringing to cities, and Montebello is our flagship. Our poster panel digital conversion proposal is something new that we're doing, and we look forward to opening it up here in Montebello. Clear Channel has had a great relationship with the city over the years, and we look forward to expanding that here tonight. But first, a little refresher on the company. Next slide, please. Clear Channel Outdoor is one of the largest out-of-home advertising companies in the world. The company and its predecessors have been in business in California for over a century. Originally Foster & Kleiser, then Patrick Media, Eller Media, and then eventually Clear Channel Outdoor in 1997. Clear Channel operates billboards, bus shelters, transit advertising, and airports in 44 of the top 50 markets in the U.S., and we have a presence in over 20 countries covering Europe, Latin America, and Asia. Clear Channel Outdoor is a global digital powerhouse. We operate more than 21,000 digital advertising displays and counting, while still providing a hyper-localized approach in our sales and marketing. Next slide, please. In the United States, we operate more than 70,000 units, including over 4,000 digital displays. And in Southern California, we operate and manage over 200 digital displays, offering the latest technologies to cities and counties as a platform to engage its citizens and display critical emergency messaging when needed. Next slide. So tonight, I'm here to present a rising opportunity for the city. This opportunity provides funding for city services, a net reduction in signage to the city, and important community and emergency messaging capabilities. Next slide. So Clear Channel Outdoor proposes to convert a few existing traditional signs to digital, and no need for structural changes. By allowing digital signage on these existing signs, it will allow us to use them for community and emergency messaging when needed. It also provides an opportunity for the city to reduce some existing signage and funding for city services, and also a one-time payment to go towards the refurbishment of the city's on-site digital sign out here in front of City Hall. Next slide. Currently, Clear Channel has 16 poster panel faces on 9 structures throughout the city along surface streets, and we propose to convert 5 of these faces, 3 existing structures to digital. Once again, no structural changes will be needed, and they will not be rebuilt. The relocation or the development agreements for each location calls for a reduction of other signage in the city. For every converted digital face, Clear Channel will remove an existing traditional face on another location in the city. This proposal calls for the removal of 5 traditional faces and 3 existing structures. You'll notice as we move through the presentation showing the locations that these poster panel faces are much smaller than its normal counterparts out on the freeways. These are 300 square foot size and as opposed to the larger ones that are over 672 square feet. So Clear Channel Outdoor will provide an annual development fee of $10,000 per converted face on an annual basis. So 5 faces is $50,000 annually. That's $1 million over the term of the agreement. Additionally, Clear Channel Outdoor proposes a one-time payment of $20,000 per converted face to be used to upgrade or refurbish the existing sign in front of City Hall. 5 faces equals $100,000 going towards that effort. As stated before, these converted digital faces can and will be used for community emergency messaging as needed. Community events like the Heritage Festival, for example, could utilize these faces to get the word out. Next slide. Here's a map showing our existing poster inventory in the city. Next slide. So the following slides will show you the proposed locations to be converted to digital. The first location is Slauson, east of Bluff, showing to Slauson Avenue. This is the east face on the lower right. You'll notice the east face. Next slide. And this is the west face. Next slide. The next location is along Washington Boulevard, just east of Vale. This slide shows the west-facing sign. Next slide. And that's the east-facing sign. And then the final location to be converted is on Whittier Boulevard, just west of 19th. This location will only have one of its faces converted to digital and showing to the east. The other side will remain static. Now the next slides are going to show you the locations that we're proposing to remove out of the city. This first location is a back-to-back existing poster panel structure showing to Beverly, just east of Wilbur Place. This slide shows the west face, and the next one already on the east face. Thank you. Next slide. The next location is Slauson, and that is Slauson and Telegraph, and that is actually west of one of the locations that we'll be converting to digital, and that's showing the west face. And then the next slide is the east face. And then the last structure to be removed is along Whittier Boulevard, just west of 3rd. This location is a single-faced roof structure showing to the east. So that concludes the locations that we will be removing through this proposal. Next slide. And as stated before, we all know what this sign looks like out in front of City Hall. The $100,000 will go towards the refurbishment or the replacement of that sign. Next slide. So here's, as mentioned before, this proposal will allow the city and local emergency officials to utilize these digital faces for emergency and community messaging. Here are a few examples of what we've done in the past. You can see in the upper left there is the public service messaging for the Flex Alert that the director mentioned. Just under that is a design that one of many actually that we did during COVID to help during the pandemic. This ad was actually created by the LA County Department of Public Health and ran on all of our digital panels in Southern California. The creative under that is actually a Clear Channel Outdoor creative in partnership with the Southern California Water District to help get the word out about the drought. And we're actually in process of upgrading that campaign, and we'll be launching a new campaign at the end of the month. Then the creative on the upper right is an example of a local community that uses our boards on a regular basis. That's the city of Carson. They use it, I would say almost every week for different community events. And then the slide, or the creative under that, is another Los Angeles County Public Health ad for the vaccination. And this example really shows the power of digital. So we had different creatives on this one, some in English, some in Spanish, some in other languages, It really shows that, when you're using these for emergency messaging or getting the word out, that you can have them in different languages, and each rotation through, it can change the creative. And then on the lower right is preparedness from the Ad Council. The Ad Council really uses our assets a lot and gets the word out about important messages. Next slide. So to sum up, Clear Channel Outdoor proposes to convert 5 existing poster panel faces on 3 structures to digital. In exchange, Clear Channel offers to remove other existing poster panel faces on 3 other structures along city streets. Additionally, we offer the annual development fees and the one-time payments to help refurbish the existing city hall sign. These state-of-the-art digital signs will be an asset to the community, and we look forward to bringing them to the city of Montebello. Thank you for your time, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
If I may.
Oh, sure.
I just want to state for the record that each location was separately noticed, so a public notice was mailed out to all owners, occupants within a 300-foot radius, and a separate notice was also published in I believe it was the Whittier Daily News. For each location, we and staff did not receive any comments in connection with those notices.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant or regarding the presentation?
I mean, I just have one question. That third sign, why are you guys only digitizing one side of it?
The other location has a lot of trees blocking the other side, and we don't want to do anything to affect the existing tree along the city streets.
Okay.
Didn't want to propose that.
And I have a question, maybe for staff and also for the applicant, if appropriate. The concern about digital signs is the light and illumination. Although most of the signs will be located in industrial type, settings or areas, but in the commercial zone, like the one shown here, that may be affecting the surrounding areas. Can we just talk about briefly how that's being addressed?
For sure, I'll take a crack at it, and then maybe any technical questions we can hand it over to the applicant. But to answer, I like the spirit of the question first of all, because we were as equally concerned with the spillage of the illuminations. But based on what the information we received, the floodlights that are there today are probably more intense than the technology that'll be going in. And I think it's 0.3-foot candles that'll be, and there will be technology in place that if it does become a problem, it can remotely be changed to dim. So like, for example, as the light, as we go into the evening hours, the lights will automatically change, and so it doesn't become a burden on drivers or traffic. So this technology is state of the art, and it actually is a huge asset when it comes to addressing those types of concerns. And maybe I'll hand it over to the applicant to maybe share some additional information.
Kind of like our phones, I guess?
Yeah, you did great. Actually, as you drive the freeway, sometimes you'll see really bright signs. Those aren't ours. Those are usually, the car dealerships and those on-site signs that don't have this automatic control mechanism. We have an ambient light reader, and even if it gets foggy or it's raining or something like that, it will dim way down, so it's not an issue. But the 0.3-foot candles is a national standard. It's about 300 nits, if you know what a nit is. And but the reason why we use foot candles is because it's easier to measure, right? Because with a nit gun, you have to be exactly in line with the face, and so you'd have to take out a man bucket and get out there, or a bucket to get out there to shoot the face right in line with it. And with a foot candle meter, you can do that from the ground.
Thank you. Great explanation. Thank you. Any other questions? No? One quick question, maybe that's more appropriate for staff, just to, and we don't have to get too detailed, but just as an overall explanation, if we can kind of cover how we developed the development agreement and, maybe similar to other cities, I don't know, just for, transparency purposes. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as with any development agreement, and as I think I mentioned previously, as prescribed by the code, it's a negotiation. So obviously we had a dialogue with the applicant. that involved, our city manager, and we basically took information that was available, and we came to terms and asked for a rehabbed sign in front of City Hall. So the applicant worked with their vendor to come back with some numbers associated with that, and the number that is being proposed is what we understand to be the amount that it would cost to refurbish that sign, to get a state-of-the-art sign for City Hall, similar to what you would see, for example, at the City of Pico Rivera, for example, where they have the new sign there. So that's how we came to that number for the 100,000 signing bonus. As far as the annual, we negotiated with the applicant, and I believe that the information they have is proprietary, but that was the number that they were comfortable with and that the city was comfortable with on an annual basis. So
Thank you for
Sorry.
the explanation. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have to close the public hearing, or?
If we have no comments from the public and the commissioners have no further questions, it would be appropriate to close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Thank you. If I see that there's no comments or questions from the commissioners, we can allow members of the public to come up if they have any questions or comments. No? I see none. Thank you. So we'll close the public hearing and discuss internally. Any comments or questions, or can we entertain a motion to approve this?
I will make a motion to approve development agreement number 0-22, 03-22, and 04-22, including 1, 2, and 3, to relocate in place 5 existing double-faced static outdoor advertising signs with the enhanced door advertising.
Commissioner Lomelli, if I can just clarify, making sure that your motion is to adopt resolution numbers 1022, 1122, and 1222?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll go ahead and second that.
Thank you. Can we get the roll call on that?
Sure thing. Chair Cuevas,
I vote aye.
Commissioner Lomelli,
Aye.
Commissioner Alakasanian,
Aye.
that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to vote separately for the removal? Because it's not under one of the three resolution numbers.
If I may, Chair, so the takedown program, I believe, is in the development agreement, so that would be something that would be, huh? Yes.
Okay.
All right, great question. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 3.
Find it.
Sure thing. Give me 1 second here. Commissioners, item 3 on tonight's agenda is a conditional use as well as a parking management plan to allow the conversion of an existing office building into a medical office clinic for dialysis patients, as well as to propose tandem parking in conjunction with the proposed dialysis center there for the property located at 2120 West Beverly Boulevard. Daniel Ruiz, who is part of our planning team, will be providing tonight's presentation on this item. Thank you.
Thank you.
If we may, Commissioner, open the public hearing at this time.
We'll open the public hearing at this time.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission, and the public. Tonight, I will be presenting case number PC-2022-0006-CUP-PMP for a conditional use permit and parking management plan application, which will allow Leonardo Corona, on behalf of the property owner, Lacna Real Estate Ventures LLC, to convert an existing office building to a medical office and dialysis clinic, as well as to propose tandem parking at 2120 West Beverly Boulevard. Next slide, please. The aerial map in this slide shows 2120 West Beverly Boulevard, which, for reference, is located near the intersection of Wilcox Avenue and Beverly Boulevard. The project area for the proposed medical office and dialysis center is identified by the red star. The project area is currently a vacant office space. The proposed conditional use permit and parking management plan would allow for the medical clinic at the site and establish mandatory conditions with which the project site must abide by. The scope of work for the project includes minor facade improvements, interior tenant improvement work, the demolition of an existing garage, the addition of a new concrete walkway, the addition of a new landscape planter, as well as the reconfiguration of the existing lot to add 21 parking spaces, including 2 tandem parking spaces for a total of 33 parking spaces. Next slide, please. On July 25th, 2022, Leonardo Corona, the applicant, filed a conditional use permit and parking management plan application to allow the conversion of an existing office building to a medical office and clinic, as well as to propose tandem parking at 2120 West Beverly Boulevard, the project site. On August 3rd, 2022, staff issued a deemed complete letter. Next slide, please. To reiterate, the entitlements associated with this project include the approval of a conditional use permit and parking management plan with conditions to allow the conversion of an existing office building to a medical office and dialysis clinic with tandem parking located at 2120 West Beverly Boulevard. Next slide. 2120 West Beverly Boulevard is surrounded by residentially zoned properties to the north. To the southeast and west, the project site is surrounded by other commercially designated properties, including a majority of which are also medical-related uses. The immediate surrounding land uses are designated boulevard commercial and high-density residential, which is mostly compatible with the general plan designation of 2120 West Beverly Boulevard, which is boulevard commercial. It is not anticipated that this specific proposal will have an adverse impact on adjacent or abutting properties. Next slide, please. The zoning map here further illustrates that the project site is situated adjacent to mostly other commercial uses, which should allow the use to be properly integrated without posing significant impacts on the surrounding land uses and community. Next slide, please. The proposed site plan for the project shown here demonstrates the overall layout of the property with the proposed parking layout included. Next slide, please. Regarding the environmental review, case number PC-2022-0006-CUP-PMP is considered a project per the California Environmental Quality Act definition. The project is considered a Class 1 categorical exemption under CEQA Section 15301A, which relates to the operation, repair, maintenance, permitting, leasing, licensing, or the minor alteration of public or private structures which involve negligible or no expansion of use. Next slide, please. On October 6th, 2022, the public hearing notice was mailed to owners within the 300-foot radius from the exterior boundaries of the subject property. On October 6, 2022, the public hearing notice was published in the Daily Journal, the Whittier Daily News. Next slide, please. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 13-2020 or -22, approving the conditional use permit and parking management plan, case number PC-2022-0006-CUP-PMP, with conditions and adopting a notice of exemption under CEQA Section 15301A for existing facilities. Thank you. This concludes my presentation. I am available for questions or comments, as are the representatives for the proposed project.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? I see none. Thank you. Does the owner or the owner's rep want to come up and address the Planning Commission?
Mr. Chair, we do have a speaker card, which I believe may be the applicant. It is a Mr. Mike, and I apologize if I... Dadden? There you go.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to address the panel. Dr. Gonzalez and his esteemed group of physicians have been serving the Montebello community for the last 35 years as physicians that take care of very, very ill patients who suffer from chronic kidney disease. While their practice has been associated with taking personal care of them, they are now planning on taking this a step further and investing a lot of capital and time and energy in building a dialysis center closer to the older citizens of Montebello who require this service 3 days a week in their lives until either they pass away from it or they get a transplant. And this proposal that we have of building this dialysis center is going to help the citizens of Montebello reduce their transportation time, cost of money that associated with going elsewhere outside of the city because there are not enough centers within the city of Montebello to find chair time for their treatments. And also the fact that their practice itself is very close to the dialysis center itself will save time for the patients to not only see them twice a month, but then also get treated 3 times a week until the problem is solved for them, which, as I said, if it's a chronic situation when they come to us, either they get a transplant or they get dialysis for the rest of their lives. And so we hope that you understand that this is a great service that we may be able to provide the city of Montebello and their senior citizens. We hope that you see the desire and the need for it and approve our case. And I would like Dr. Gonzalez to also address the panel.
First of all, thank you very much for allowing us to come here and present our project. We are closely integrated with the community of Montebello, both on a medical standpoint. We are all on staff at Beverly Hospital. We reach out to Whittier, we reach out to East LA. And in noticing, for example, I don't know if you may know at this point in time, but apparently Beverly Hospital has been now either is going to be acquired or they're going to have a merger with Advantage Health. And a lot of this has to do with the pandemic, the need for another dialysis center also arrives from the fact that frequently patients get stuck in the hospital because we can't mobilize them to the existing ones because there's no space. So, you know, this is really is a project that is extremely needed in the community. And, well, we've been at this almost for 2 years. I think we had a meeting about 2 years ago about this, so we're glad that it's finally coming here, and all we want to ask you is for your approval. And if you have any questions for me, please.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Any questions for the applicant? No. Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Are there any members of the public that would like to come up, say anything, support, opposition? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and we can discuss this internally. Any comments or questions?
Just out of curiosity, how many other dialysis centers are there in Montebello?
I will direct that question to Daniel. Did we look at that?
I know there was at least one more that I saw, but I don't recall exactly looking at the full number for how many total dialysis centers, but I know it was a very limited amount.
It seems that,
That before we, okay.
oh, sorry, it seems like a couple of members of the public are saying that there's 2 existing.
Okay.
Thank you, good question. All right, thank you. Any other questions? No? If we can entertain a motion from any of the commissioners?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve case number PC 2022-006-CUP-PMP for a conditional use permit, as well as adopt the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA exemption 15301.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll go in a second.
Thank you. Can we get roll call?
Sure. Chair Cuevas,
Aye.
Commissioner Lomelli,
Aye.
Commissioner Alakasanian.
Aye.
That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for our
Thank you.
community. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our next item, Planning Commission orals. Okay, I just have a comment. I'm still trying to beat his record, but he's still beating everyone. Any other comments? No? Oh.
No?
No comments.
No comments, okay. All right, if there are no other comments, we can adjourn this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good meeting.